Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today let's talk about Japanese yen. Since 2022, the yen has been depreciating for 3 years, hitting a 34-year low in April 2024. What has really happening to Japanese yen? We would like to answer this question from three aspects. First, how weak is Japanese yen in 2024? Second, why do Japan's government and the central bank maintain a weak yen policy? Third, what can we expect to happen to the yen next? On April 26, 2024, Japanese yen hit a level of 156.82 per US dollar, marking the lowest point since 1990. As a result of the continuous depreciation of the currency, foreign visitors are flocking to this beautiful Oriental country. According to Japan National Tourism Organization, more than 3 million visitors explored the country in March. Yes, cherry blossoms are definitely attractive. However, we cannot deny that the weak yen has significantly contributed to this influx. Foreign tourists can now purchase Japanese products at relatively cheaper prices in their own currencies. Tokyo streets are bustling with people carrying luxury shopping bags, and the hotels and the restaurants are fully booked. The country is more crowded than it was in 2019, before the pandemic. Some restaurants even create separate menus for foreign visitors and the Japanese customers to charge different prices. Tamatebeko, a newly opened seafood buffet in Tokyo Shibuya district, uses a flat fee for its all-you-can-eat and drink plan. Compared to local Japanese residents, foreign travelers need to pay an additional 1,100 Japanese yen to enjoy the meal. Tamatebeko is not the only one deploying the so-called dual pricing strategy. Many businesses are embracing it to increase their margins and manage the pressure of maintaining service levels during the tourism boom. This includes the Japan Rail Pass from Japan Railway Group. A survey conducted by Ponta, a local loyalty marketing program provider, reveals that over 60% of Japanese people support these practices. This sentiment is not a big surprise, as the weak yen escalates the operating costs for local business, particularly those relying on importing materials and ingredients from other countries, while local wages struggle to match the increasing living expenses. The weakness of the yen is mainly due to Japanese central bank's different monetary policy compared to other major economies. Since 2022, most developed countries have increased interest rates to combat inflation, but Japanese central bank has maintained the zero or negative interest rate policy launched in 1999. The widening spread between the yen and other major currencies has intensified the yen's depreciation over the last 2 years. Based on the actions of Japanese central bank, we can conclude that Japan is intentionally weakening the yen. What is the reason for this? We may find the answer in the journey of Japan's economic rise. Let's look back at the history of the Japanese yen after World War II. Between 1941 and 1949, there was no official exchange rate as Japan was still recovering from the war, and the currency had little value compared to the pre-war period. In 1949, the US occupation government set a fixed exchange rate for the yen at 360 yen to 1 US dollar, a rate that remained until 1971. During this period, Japan experienced the Japanese miracle, a time of rapid economic growth. From 1955 to 1972, Japan's economy was leading the world with its 9.3% average real GDP growth rate. Obviously, at that time, the yen was much weaker than today. With a fixed rate of 360 yen to 1 US dollar, the super weak yen led Japan to accumulate a great amount of trade surplus with the US, which was one of the main drivers of Japan's rapid economic growth. The surplus reached 5.8 trillion US dollars in 1971, convincing the US government that the yen was undervalued. At the end of 1971, the US-Japan signed the Smithsonian Agreement, setting a new fixed exchange rate at 308 yen to 1 US dollar. This was the first time yen appreciated after World War II. However, the 14% appreciation was insufficient to satisfy the demand for yen in the foreign exchange market. In 1973, following the US government's abandonment of the gold standard, major currencies, including the yen, entered the era of floating exchange rates. Since then, Japan's economy entered the stable stage in the 1970s and the 1980s. The average real GDP growth rate was around 4.4% during this period. We need to notice that as the economy was slowing down, the yen was strengthening. Even though Japan was still considered to be in an economic boom at that time, the exchange rate of the yen to the US dollar appreciated from 303 yen to 1 US dollar in 1973 to 238 yen to 1 US dollar in 1985. Now we can say that the yen in 2024 is not weak compared to Japan's post-war economic boom period. In fact, Japan may favor a weak currency policy as it is highly correlated with strong economic growth. Things after 1985 may reinforce this impression. The Palace Accord, a landmark agreement led by the US, was signed by 5 countries in September 1985, aimed at depreciating the US dollar relative to other major currencies, including the yen. After signing the agreement, the exchange rate of the yen to the US dollar appreciated by around 30% in 1 year, from 238 yen to 1 US dollar in 1985 to 168 yen to 1 US dollar in 1986. Along with this currency appreciation, Japan's rapid economic growth began to slow. After 1990, Japan's economy stalled and entered the lost decades period with average real GDP growth rate at 0.9%, which continues to this day. From Japan's perspective, we can understand why they prefer weak yen position. Frankly speaking, the yen is not as weak as many people think in 2024 when we take a holistic view of Japan's economic growth path. In April 2024, to slow down the yen's depreciation, the Japanese central bank actually increased the short-term interest rate from negative 0.1% to a range of 0% to 0.1%. However, there are still questions about its effectiveness, considering the GDP growth rate was 1% in 2022 and 1.9% in 2023. Both Japanese people and the government lack strong confidence in their economic growth. Even though the Japanese central bank may raise interest rates again, it is likely to do so cautiously and not very soon. We can expect the relatively weak yen to persist for a while until there is a clear signal of strong economic growth returning to Japan. So, what's your opinion? Are you planning to visit Japan to explore this beautiful country in the near future? Please leave your comments to share your insights here. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.